Guys, get ready. It is going to be the cringiest, or at least one of the cringiest royal weddings in history between Princess Märtha Louise of Norway and Durek Verrett, who is a shaman guy who is reportedly HIV positive and has a very, very, very checkered past. And there's going to be, so far from what I can tell, a pretty massive, very, very self-indulgent celebration in Norway. This is her second marriage. Märtha Louise and her first husband divorced. He later ended his own life. So we have this very, very just absolute cringe fest going on because Märtha Louise, she's a little unique. She speaks to angels, ghosts. She pursues those type of things. There was even a whole series of like workshops they were going to do, and they were going to call them the shaman and the princess or something to that effect. And so they are officially getting married. And I think most people who are royal watchers are going, ooh, really? Yeah, because this gentleman has an incredibly checkered past. And then you add in Märtha Louise, who was also a little odd as well. And then you add on the addition arrest of Marius, the son of the crown princess before her marriage to Crown Prince Haakon, and you just got a recipe for disaster for the Norwegian royal family. In fact, their favorabilities have dropped about 15 points since all this together just conflated into one event. This is not going to go well for Norway. And we are going to talk a little bit about this because I don't always get a chance to talk about the other royals. I do have a whole video about the Norwegian royal family. If you're interested, I'll link it up above. But like I said, today we are going to talk about what is becoming the cringiest wedding of the year, the cringiest lead up to the wedding. I mean, they are giving Harry and Meghan definitely a run for their money. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. But if you guys haven't been to Royal News Network before, my name is Brittany. I provide y'all compelling royal commentary. So if you guys want to hit that subscribe button, I would absolutely love to have you back. We have a great, fun, and fantastic time here, and especially talking about royals. And I know a lot of talk about Harry and Meghan, but this wedding again is pretty unique. And I'm sure it was one that the Norwegian royal family were like really crossing their fingers, hoping, praying, would just never ever happen. Because Durek Verrett is a shady character, in my opinion. I'm just saying that he has threatened to sue other family members for saying negative things about him. He has been caught in sort of a series of lies and misdirections and all these sorts of things, at least according to an article in the Daily Mail. And Märtha Louise has kind of gone down the Harry route, only worse, is that she's been a part of his efforts to threaten his own family with legal action for saying things against him. And she has also gone on these weird campaigns trying to prove that he was really wealthy when he was growing up and everything. And it just comes across as incredibly odd and cringy. As somebody was describing on Twitter, which I don't think is necessarily a totally wrong thing to say, seems like she's marrying her cult leader. Yeah. Yeah. So let's get into it. And I think what's interesting, we'll look first at the image they're trying to portray to the world. And this is via Hello Magazine. They have the exclusive publication rights to this wedding. Why? Because the couple like them because they don't question him. That's the thing I find so irritating about some sections of journalism. Now, this isn't everyone, but I believe in questioning things, even people you like. That's why sometimes I question, well, could Catherine and William, I mean, this was before everything that's happened this year, could they work a bit more? Probably. Should they? Probably. And I understand they have children and stuff. And as we understand now, there might have been a lot of health situations going on that we just didn't know about at the time. But there are huge questions I think some media outlets don't pursue because they don't want to offend their hosts. They want to maintain access to such an extent that they actually refuse to cover things or refuse to question things. I hate that. Comes to this particular couple. What I find sort of disturbing is that they're trying to portray this one image and they want a publication that doesn't question them. I'm against being unable to question someone. I don't care who you are. If I have a question for you, if I want to challenge your narrative, I believe I have the right to do so. And I believe because as journalists, that's what you're called to do is ask questions. Now, am I the best at it? No, of course not. But Hello Magazine got this event only because they were the sole people who just blew smoke up their butts. That's the reason they got this. Just saying that right now. And I find that a little bit tacky from a journalistic standard. Now, that's just my opinion. I've purchased Hello magazine. They often had great spreads of the other royal weddings. I actually had clip outs of Crown Princess Victoria's wedding way back in the day because obviously they were really the only magazine that covered it. But Hello magazine here, just covering this very cringe-inducing thing. So let's get into some of it. So this is going to be in Granger, something in the west coast of Norway. I actually considered going and covering it. Kind of glad I didn't because it sounds like obviously they have an exclusive deal with Hello. So they were able, Hello magazine, to catch up with Märtha at a hotel near Oslo. Feels amazing to be marrying Durek. The day is almost here. Even if there are a few glitches, we'll still can gaze at the stunning scenery. Like people question his credibility and why he's actually marrying her. Pausing to reflect, the 52-year-old mom of three, who has daughters Maud, Leah, and Emma, and was married to Ari Ben, who again, like I said, ended up ending his own life in 2018, I believe. And that's when she met Durek. And so, interesting connection. For me, getting married will seal the closeness between us. It's a way of elevating the energy and entering into a new phase of our relationship. So you'll hear a lot of things talk about energy and this pseudo spiritual stuff. I don't find that personally appealing, but that's just my opinion. And he is friends allegedly, and he has actually posted pictures with Gwyneth Paltrow and actually Märtha Louise as well. And he says the marriage is a spiritual thing. It's letting the world know that this person I love in a declaration before family, friends, and God, sealing our relationship in front of the universe is a strong spiritual declaration. To do that, surrounded by people who love us and who we love, will be powerful. Now, I question the God thing since he is a shaman and he is a little bit of a kooky character. So I feel like that's a bit disingenuous. And facing the criticism, here's the thing. From the moment Märtha revealed in 2019 she was in a relationship with Durek, describing him as her twin flame. And if you actually remember or not, there's actually a whole documentary on Netflix on twin flames, which is this cult basically run by these two people. And so when they describe as twin flames, you got to wonder too if people are going, wait, isn't there a cult called that? So the couple have faced huge opposition and challenges, not only because he works as a shaman, a spiritual hero, but also because of his ethnicity and is said to become the first Black man to become a member of a European royal family. I know how it feels to face public criticism, says Märtha, who suffered mockery and disapproval for her own spiritual work and beliefs, like speaking to angels. She does. She relinquished royal duties in 2022 to focus on her alternative practices. Since meeting Durek, the criticism has doubled. I didn't realize there were so many levels of racism before I met him. The microaggressions, perception that because he's Black, he can't be trusted. Some friendships have been lost along the way, but we've made new ones too. Does this sound familiar or not? Does this sound familiar? And this again is their narrative they're portraying to the world. Daily Mail has something entirely different to discuss, but this is the narrative they're portraying to the world. Now, when it comes to what you portray to the world in terms of your jewelry, I have a great suggestion, which would be Ana Lucia diamonds. They are lab created diamonds, and there's some amazing pieces. My favorite that I wear all the time is my 7-stone Eternity band. Currently, right now, it is on sale. So if you're interested in any of that, feel free to check out the link up above. And if you use code ROYAL20 with Ana Lucia, you shall save 20%. There are some amazing, gorgeous pieces. And I know somebody who ordered one of their rings and used it as their wedding ring. And that just made me so excited. It looked absolutely amazing and incredible. So if you guys are interested, again, link up above and use code ROYAL20 to save 20%. Holding Märtha's hand firmly in his, Durek says, at first it hurt me. I had a meltdown, a breakdown. It seems propaganda is the biggest weapon now. My work continues to be misrepresented. And if something is repeated in the press, people believe it. Märtha and I have weathered many storms, but now you feel like we can do anything together. It has made us strong. So we got a couple of pictures here. And again, like these are just so cringy. The look of love. Come on. Oh, we got them running. Oh, so cringy. Oh my gosh, the adoring look. Oh. And then, oh, like together. I hate this kind of stuff. I will be honest, because to me, it's so performative. Look how in love we are. Look how great we are. I hate this kind of stuff. I despise it because it just comes across as so fake and ridiculous. We'll get into this Daily Mail article, which portrays a very different thing, that he definitely wanted to be a model or something. This is a guy who's always wanted to fame and fortune. Let's see a little bit of what they say here.
Stressed.
It's quite stressed running up to the wedding, actually. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
But it's going to be amazing once it starts, and we get all our friends there and the people we love, and
We meditate.
we're going to have
Ground ourselves.
amazing
Oh gosh. Okay, sorry. I just hate this pseudo spiritual
time
nonsense.
together.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody, but
What do you love about me?
oh, what do you love about me? Seriously? Oh my gosh.
I love that. I love that cheekiness. I love how she's a spitfire energy and
I love how he had to pause for a little bit to try to come up with
says
something.
what's on her mind and doesn't put up with my nonsense. And I just love her power, her strength. So like, I'm a very strong person. I have a very strong personality.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if I totally buy that at all.
So for someone like her to have the courage to speak up to me whenever and ever, it feels so nurturing and so loving.
What? Speak up to you and tell you the things you're doing wrong? That's comforting to that's just really odd. I'm sorry.
Because finally I've met someone who is able to like hold that space of power. I love watching her with the
What? What does that mean? I'm sorry. I'm so confused. What does any of that mean? That is just word salad gobbledygook. Doesn't mean anything.
children. I love how she's so amazing mother and like puts her children and like how much she raises them. I learned so much about parenting from her. That's
It'll be interesting to see if they have a child or something. That'll be interesting to see.
why I'm marrying her, because I know for sure that she's the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. Like every conversation is like a joyful conversation. And even if it's not a joyful conversation and it's a lesson where she's checking me and
This is so odd to me because he's basically saying, at least from what I can get, is that she's holding him to task because apparently nobody else has done it in his life before. Like nobody else apparently has done that in his life, is to hold him to account for anything. And that's what he finds attractive. I feel like that's not really accurate.
making me be a better man. I feel great about it.
What made me fall for you?
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, this is just so awful. It's just there's just nothing grounded in here. It's just like very fanciful. Like if she was 22, maybe, or like 15, but she's in her 50s now with 3 children.
I'm excited about this.
Oh gosh, I'm excited about this. He's looking forward to it. Yeah.
Was your playfulness, your humor, your wisdom, and that I could talk to you about anything. I was never scared bringing up any situation or any theme that
Again, so weird. Like it sounds like they challenge each other like all the time. I would feel like that would be exhausting. Not that you're not supposed to challenge your partner, of course, but it just doesn't sound like this is like a very healthy dynamic.
we both can grow together and that we're both willing to grow and never stagnant.
Oh gosh, it's so weird. Okay, and this is again supposed to be a journalistic outlet, and this is coming across as a video a couple about to get married do to like promote themselves on social media. The Hello Magazine is literally paying for their self-promotion. This is the most ridiculous thing.
People, when they think about a princess, they think that's who she is. That's the princess. The thing about what people don't know is that let's just remove that aspect. And
Because, removing that aspect, because, he's really more interested in her as a person, not a princess. Right?
and look at the woman, and the woman who raised her children and has gone through so much and stands strong against adversity.
They sound like they make their lives really hard. Like their relationship is hard. Everything about their lives is hard. That's what this sounds like. It's so weird.
Woman who stepped into a relationship with a black man and dealt with all of the people saying things and making comments.
So what he's talking about there is he's talking about her relationship to him. So it sounds very narcissistic to me. You know, she's a woman who stepped into this relationship with a black man. And, you know, so her power is really her power through him, not really her individual power.
And doing all these things and stand strong. A person who has gone through so much with the media and the press and stand strong.
Again, for him, because this is all about him, not really about her. And the damage he has done to her reputation, which again, we'll get into why. Despite this glowing situation, things are not maybe quite as good behind the scenes.
And so for me, what I think is something that they don't understand about her is that she's not just a princess. She is this dynamic woman.
And she's going to marry him. That's the most important part of that entire dynamic.
Who is literally making it possible for other women in the world to see their inner power.
Excuse me? How in the world is her marrying him able to help me find my inner power? That is nonsense. No, I don't care. Why would I care about what a princess in Norway does? How is that? And her relationship with him, how exactly is that supposed to give me power? Like, he's basically saying his relationship with her, being with her, gives every woman in the world power. I mean, that's some pretty high level narcissistic tendencies there. Oh, yeah.
And she has depth. And that is something that is so powerful about Märtha.
I wonder how many times he said powerful in this whole interview. It's kind of crazy.
Is her depth. She has depth.
If you have to say it, then you probably don't have it. Just saying. If you have to say it, you probably don't have it. Because there's other ways to say it, just going, she has depth. She has depth. She's depth. She's got depth.
And I also drive a truck.
Yes. Oh, yes. And she can drive a big rig. And
Okay.
and she can go win, the Guinness World Records gold medal. And she can
What does any of this mean? This is so weird.
do so many things. And she does it like that, like it's nothing.
I think what people don't know about you.
Oh, there's a lot of people know about him. And a lot of people question about him. And probably maybe something she doesn't know about him. We'll get there.
Is your playful side that you are.
Don't you just love his skirt? He's competing in the skirt contest with her. That's what you want in your man. Yep.
You love video games and you love the
Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, but also the figures.
This is so dumb. So dumb. He just literally kept talking about how they have depth. Because, she has depth. And so, by extension, he has depth. And then they're talking about a Nintendo Switch.
My action figures.
Action figures, yeah. You have a very childlike side. A childish. Childlike?
Childlike.
Side.
Not childish.
No, not well.
Yeah.
Okay. This is so weird. This is so weird. Oh, man. I haven't watched this yet. This is so cringy, though. This is about as cringy as I thought it would be.
I got too. Yeah, I have that too. I have both, actually.
But childlike is nice. How you portrayed why you play with your action figures and you get your creativity out. Because if you don't block your inner child.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I understand collecting action figures. I know that's kind of more of a guy thing than a girl thing. So I accept that. But if he's playing with them, that makes me question things. Like, I understand you really love a show and you want the action figure for it so you can look at it in your office. I get that. I totally do. Don't totally get him playing like them with like I do with Barbies when I was a child. I haven't played with Barbie since I was like 11, 12 maybe. Been a long time since I played with dolls. But apparently, he still plays with dolls.
You have much more creativity in your life. And I thought that was so beautiful. And I love that you don't care about what people think. You've been a dancer on MTV and have been a VJ on MTV.
I wonder if that's actually true or not. And we'll get there.
And I think people don't know that.
There's a lot of things people do and do not know because he has not a great track record with the truth.
There's this saying in the Bible that says, in order to enter the kingdom of heaven, one must come as a child. And I remember my grandfather saying that to me, and
I don't trust his interpretation of what that verse is supposed to mean. Faith like a child, not being a child as an adult. That's not faith like a child, not the mentality of a child.
I kept saying, well, then how come you guys don't act like kids? I made a decision in my childhood that I was never going to give up being a kid.
Don't know if I would necessarily like that in a partner because you do have to grow up. You do have to grow up at some point.
I think more people should take that out. I remember when I was young, I was afraid of growing up because it meant to be so serious and you have to take life serious and everything. You never laugh.
So are they saying they've never grown up? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow. Like a faith like a child. You're not supposed to be a child. Faith like a child is like your parents tell you something and you believe it. Or, you know, that trust game where you fall backwards. I know pastors and other Christian families who have done that, teaching their kids to trust their parents by having them fall backwards, because that's the type of faith you need to have. It doesn't mean you need to still play with dolls when you're in your late 40s. That's not what that verse means.
Anymore, and you never have fun anymore. And you know, I liked climbing trees and doing stuff like that when I was little. I think it's so nice to be able to like take those cuts.
Gosh. Because that we can be kids together. Okay. Not that you ever lose wonder, like a bit of a childlike sense of wonder. I get that, but you're also an adult. If she's walking around climbing trees in her 50s, not only is that potentially dangerous because she could break a hip, it's going to take a long time to recover, but is that really what she should be doing in her 50s? I mean, you understand now why the Norwegian royal family kind of sort of cut her loose.
Out again as grown-ups and have fun in my arc.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. This is just, so cringy. So cringy. Let's go back and see if there's more here. So, and the celebrations have started, and there they are. Oh, we got 16 pictures. So there's a happy couple in what I can only describe as a wildly hideous ensemble. His ensemble kind of looks like poop. Not as quite as bad as Megan's did, but yeah, it's not a particularly great ensemble. And then they're on a boat, hanging out with their friends, and the royals are there. But my understanding is, at least during the ceremony, the royals will not be photographed with them. There's Märtha, and her son is in the background. So we have some minor members of the royal family, Prince Constantine and his wife, Laurent. And it sounds like, too, they were at the funeral of Ari Ben. So it seems like they're a bit closer to Märtha Louise. And so it makes sense. But obviously, too, some of the big wigs and royal families aren't going out there. So this is Crown Prince Haakon, his wife Mette-Marit, their daughter Princess Ingrid Alexandra, who will be the future Queen of Norway, their son Prince Magnus, and his girlfriend, apparently. And so there's his girlfriend. Isn't she cute? He's 18, so they're really young. So that's adorable. She's so pretty, I think, Ingrid Alexandra. She's currently doing some military training. And I almost feel like they're on this they're on this boat for a cruise or something like that. And Ingrid Alexandra is looking at this going, oh my gosh, I have to do this for a week. I have to do this whole weekend. It seems like such a circus already. And not only is she not going to be the future queen of Norway, but this relationship, well, maybe as some people said, they are both so narcissistic, they might be able to continue it. So this is Princess Astrid, the sister of the current king, Harold. Harold is there, but I don't think we've seen them. Party time with all their kind of rich, frivolous folks, I would say. Apparently the dress code is, I think, fun and sexy, apparently. There is King Harold and his wife, Queen Sonja. He has to have a lot of mobility issues. And so the royal yacht is where the king and queen were, and the rest of everybody else was on the other boat. So it's interesting that they didn't have them. This is one of Princess Märtha Louise's daughters, I believe. And I think both of these might be her other. So we have all three daughters here. And yeah, they're going on their way to their wedding venue, Hotel Union. And this just already seems to be like way over the top, especially for somebody who's a minor royal. This is her second marriage at this point. But the other side of Durek Verrett, and we've seen the side he wants everybody to see, that there was a bunch of just, it was all related to racism. He's very much playing the Meghan Markle card. But I would say his past is even more checkered than hers is. Actually, a lot more, I would say. So here we have the Daily Mail, which shows a different side of him. Shaman or sham, troubling past of the Princess of Norway's HIV positive groom who was engaged to a man who helped him raise $20,000 for a kidney transplant. That is a headline. I did not know he was HIV positive. Most of the stuff in here I already previously knew, but the HIV positive thing is new. And obviously as well, things happen in life. I get that. But this shows a level of, I would say, recklessness that I would say most people would be a little bit nervous about, especially because he was previously engaged to a man. So he was moved from a man to a woman. So questions there. Questions there, of course. And so Durek Verrett claims to be an American spiritual healer who has some celebrity clientels. By Durek's own account in 2020 interview with Vanity Fair, he grew up in extreme wealth with domestic servants and private planes thanks to his successful architect father. But as we'll turn out, that is not exactly the case. The trouble is his own mother has refuted his versions of a privileged upbringing. And there are plenty of other questions raised about the undoubtedly colorful past, which saw him spend a year in jail, as well as being arrested several times. In 2002, Durek, who has previously spoken about being HIV positive, sensationally claims he died of renal failure and came back to life, cementing his path to being a shaman. So we won't go over all of this, but there's a lot here. There's like so much. And so he had to raise money for a kidney transplant at some point. Apparently he's fine right now, but it's unclear how is his kidney function good? We really don't know. He had a fiance, Hank Greenberg. That is not a typo. And they were in a relationship for 8 years. But Durek was arrested for attacking him at their California home. Hank would later describe his former fiance as not a good man. And that is a theme. Incidents have largely gone under the radar, like his older incidents, because they've been overshadowed by more recent controversies, which is never a good sign. Never a good sign. And one of his is a suggestion that childhood cancer is caused by unhappiness. So if you are unhappy, you gave yourself cancer. I know a baby who had cancer, like literally a less than year-old child. I don't think happiness played a factor in that. Just a fallen world. So he has dropped by his publisher because of pseudoscientific claims he's made in his book, Spirit Hacking. Deeper Dive reveals patterns of conflicting information about his family background, as well as allegations of controlling behavior by his former assistant. So this was a funny thing I saw, because I saw this Märtha Louise at some point. This was actually earlier this year, because he claims to have been wealthy as a child. There's an image of his mother, and people have disputed this. And what's funny is Märtha Louise made this whole social media post talking about how his home is now worth $3 million. Well, I don't know if you're aware, Märtha Louise, but that doesn't mean anything in California, because when he was probably living there 30, 40 years ago, it was worth a lot less. Property costs in California have increased massively. So yeah, it might be worth $3 million now, but I would bet you when he grew up there, it was worth 300,000 or less. That's just inflation. So, but she had to make this big statement about it, because her whole thing is kind of trying to find a fight against all these narratives. And so he has made this like whole story about how he got connected and he was abused, and his shamanic powers like were scary to his father or something. And then he made this whole story about I think he called her his grandmother. Mamal, but she was in fact his great-grandmother, born and died in New Orleans, didn't have a connection to Haiti that he claimed. And there's just so much, like so much. And let's keep getting here. So he recalls having some unfortunate experiences as a young child, and he got plunged into drug and alcohol abuse. Used to drink like crazy, he said, would spend my days training in shamanism, then get wasted while playing video games with my buddies. So I guess the childishness has been going on for a while. Shooting paintballs at gay guys coming out of clubs. I have a drinking problem. I didn't just have a drinking problem. I was homophobic. And then got into a relationship with a guy. He bleached his hair too. Tried to bleach his skin apparently as well because he didn't like being black. So he had several run-ins with the law. And he wanted to be at one point a model, dancer, or a shaman. Those are strong career paths right there. So he was sentenced to 5 years in prison at one point in 1991 for hosting an illegal party in an unoccupied house in California, which subsequently burned down. He ultimately served a year in prison. He was arrested on 3 more occasions around the state of California for avoiding bus fares, trespassing, and theft of services. And he had to represent himself in court. He started teaching Pilates. He tried acting. And his mother, of course, has claimed that he has brainwashed the princess, according to this Norwegian outlet, and that he did not have servants, drivers, or a private plane, which I totally 150% believe. But the shaman, as the Daily Mail says, and Märtha Louise sent Verushka a cease and desist letter and publicly stated that she wouldn't be coming to the wedding. And then his half-sister launched a blistering attack on the couple and claimed they were threatening to sue her for millions, which apparently she actually got into my comments and shared the same thing. So yeah, Demi, I'm sorry for your experience. That is terrible. And this is part of the Instagram comment Märtha Louise said, many kids were jealous of his family's wealth as it seems like he had it all when it came to material items. It didn't help that Durek was the only person in school who had limos and taxis outside of the ones taking him to school because he wasn't what people did here in Foster City. So it's like, why are you defend? Like, this is a stupid thing to be so concerned about. It's if people believe he was rich when he grew up. Like, who cares? Who cares? But I think part of it is that he's gone with this narrative. And he wants the world to believe it, and it's a lie. And so, in my personal opinion. So, I guess this was a friend who said it. Märtha Louise got a friend to take it. It's just like such ridiculous nonsense. And this is the house Durek grew up with in Foster City is now worth more than 30 million Norwegian krona, which would be about $3 million. And again, it's 3,460 square feet. It means nothing in California. It means absolutely nothing in California. It was not important to me whether he was from a family with money or not as a child, but the fact that he was, and I'm sick and tired of the lies about us and about Durek. And then we go on to, he died and came back to life. He woke up in the middle of the night to find a spirit sitting on top of me, reaching into my body. And the next thing I knew, I was strapped to a gurney in the ambulance with my friend Marcus. Okay, I almost want to put quotations marks about Marcus. Looking all kinds of freaked out. By his own account, he suffered 7 seizures on his way to the hospital. His grandmother appeared to his hospital room, told him to relax and let death take me, apparently, allegedly. So he was dead, but then he came back from the other side, lost the use of his legs after being in a medically induced coma, had such bad brain damage, I would never walk again. My kidneys were in such bad shape. I spent 8 years of my life on dialysis experience that forced me to walk through the fires of human suffering. Then he also admitted being HIV positive, it has been incredibly difficult to get an opportunity to receive a kidney transplant, he has explained. Again, if that was my future partner, I don't know if I could do it. I'm so sorry. I just don't know if I could do it. So, talked about the difficulty of getting transplant, but that's hard. It hasn't come out too much. He's, claims to live in pain every day. His former fiance, Hank, raised $20,000 to get him a kidney transplant. And he still apparently struggles with severe kidney disease. Don't know how true that is. He might need a new kidney transplant. So much. So much. And when it comes to his relationship with Hank, that fell apart because he attacked his former fiance and was charged with domestic violence. And they reportedly ran wellness sessions called Heaven and Earth in LA. And according to the Daily Mail, Hank told them, I love Durek dearly and wish him all the best, but I don't have anything nice to say about him. He has an immense talent. I believe in his mission that love is the answer, but I don't believe in the man anymore. So this is apparently Verrett and Hank. Apparently, they signed a non-disclosure, but he has broken it. And again, he's been threatened with legal action. His former assistant also claims that he's awful. Durek controlled my whole life. It was as if he was jealous of anything that took attention away from him. I was not allowed to start serious relationships or be busy with my son. It was all about Durek. I heard a lot of negative things about him in the beginning, but I refused to believe that it could be true. Even the most incredible stories I was told bounced off me. It was like I was in a trance. Durek was everything to me. He told what I wanted to hear, gave me what I wanted. That is the key to Durek's influence. This is the assistant. So he has a Heal the World tour. He claimed to have worked in Israel for a time, but the hospital's HR records have no record of his employment. He said he foresaw the 9/11 attacks. It would have been helpful if he told people. He's also apparently, I'm a hybrid space lizard, reptilian, and an Andromeda princess from Greek mythology. And I also have ancient spirits from the ancient world. Lies have been told about our species, and I want to address. We are a cluster of beings. That means we have to come here and create structures that help people to liberation. A whole bunch of things. And then Märtha doesn't put up with my nonsense. And again, we saw some of that interview already. And of course, because of them selling the rights to print publication to Hello Magazine and then actually video rights to Netflix, no members of the royal family will be filmed or photographed during the official event or the official celebration. So anytime it is controlled and only Hello Magazine can publish pictures, the royal family will not be featured. So here's a key member of the Norwegian royal family breaking a good and long tradition of letting the media in, but she has to make money off of them. So major events have been documented via Norwegian broad media such as NTB and NRK on behalf of the entire press, which has passed the images on to the people and to the newsrooms that want them, including foreign ones. Publication has been told that the national media will have limited access to the nuptials and will not be able to document the wedding. So the family will avoid being photographed. So there will be at least maybe one family picture, but they'll avoid most everything else. And so then there's her and her initial husband. It's not clear if she'll be wearing a tiara. So all this to say, this wedding is looking real hinky. And no wonder the Norwegian royal family is having trouble with basically press perception, public perception, because these things do matter. Who you marry in a royal family, and I think who you marry in any family does matter. Harry marrying Meghan blew up his entire life. It blew up his entire life. Märtha Louise, she's lost her position within the royal family because of this marriage. There will be so many more questions because of this marriage. Who you marry does matter. And as a royal family, I think it matters even more. Now, obviously, she's a woman in her 50s. The royal family can't really dictate what she does. But I think there have been obvious issues and things she's done that have gone on for a long time. Like her starting a school to help you talk to angels. I feel like that should be a huge warning sign. Yes, so yes. Obviously. So it's a little disturbing for sure. So I don't know quite what to think of everything, but this is obviously definitely, guys, a wedding that is going to be one of the cringiest things we've seen. I would not be surprised at all to see the groom in a dress or in a skirt of some kind. And I think this reflects badly on Norway. They've gotten hits not only with Marius's arrest, but now this. And they knew this was coming. Everything has been building up to this for a while. But I'm sure Harold and Sonia are thinking they're wondering every once in a while, where did we go wrong? Because this is definitely not how they want to spend their twilight years. So guys, let me know what you think of this video. Let me know what you think is the cringiest and who is the real Durek Verrett, who I guess was originally named Durek David. That's his legal name, or was at one point. Who do you think he is? Is he the next Meghan Markle? And is he misleading his, you could say, fiance, the public, whatever? Is there more to Durek than we have seen? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you very soon. Bye.